Is manifestation BS? We know there are arguments for both sides. I know my view, but I'm always curious to hear other perspectives. So I thought, why not have on the author and host of the podcast, Is Manifesting Bullshit? Cindy Witteman join me today. So we're going to jump straight into it to see if manifestation is truly a bunch of BS. Welcome to the Manifestation and Money Podcast, the show where we tackle the taboo topics of money and manifestation. I'm your host, Jenny Schultz, former 9-to-5 grinder who ditched the status quo and went all in on creating a life I love. Yes, I use manifestation. Yes, I took action. And yes, I created a 7-figure net worth before turning 40. Every week, I'll bring you inspiring stories with money mavens and manifestation masters. From learning how to make more, save more, and grow your wealth to unlocking the power of manifesting your dream life. I am so excited to play in this space with you. Let's jump into creating a life you love. Welcome to the Manifestation and Money Podcast, Cindy.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited.
I am pumped to have you on the show today. So first, I would love for you to share with the listeners a little bit about who you are and what your story is.
Oh, yes. Okay, so my name is Cindy Witteman. I live here in San Antonio, Texas. I'm the founder and CEO of Driving Single Parents, which is a nonprofit where we give away cars to single parents in need. I'm also the founder and editor-in-chief of Force Magazine, where we highlight people who are a force to be reckoned with, the host of Little Give TV show, and the host of Is Manifesting Bullshit podcast. I'm a 5-time international best-selling author, and really everything I do is centered around helping other people spread their stories of kindness and manifestation and love. So that's a bit about me.
Lovely. And that's why we're having you on the show today. Before we dig into manifestation, I want to hear what your spark was for giving away cars to people who needed them.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good one. That's a good question because I'm
Yeah.
actually a domestic violence survivor. And so I literally escaped that situation after hearing a Dr. Phil episode where he said it's better to come from a broken home than it is to grow up in one. And hearing that is what sparked me to leave that situation. And it led me on a path of working 2 jobs, putting myself through school, selling plasma, all the things. And in that journey, I realized people don't choose to be single parents. It's something that you kind of have to grow through, and it's one of the hardest jobs in the world. I thought, geez, when I get on the other side of this mess, I'm going to find a way to do something to help this population. And so I was literally at dinner one night when I had the idea of like, you know what? Without that little car that I had, there's no way I could be as successful as I am today. I just wanted to pass that on to other people.
That's amazing and beautiful. And in that, you were talking about working really, really hard. When did you find for you, when did manifestation come into your life?
Ah, that's another great question. Oh my goodness, you're so good at this. Um, so it's a funny story because I had heard about manifestation on the Oprah Winfrey show about The Secret many moons ago. And I said, oh my goodness, I kind of feel sorry for the people that believe that because like, wow, they must be so naive. But then whenever I got to a situation where I was a single mom, I was working so hard, like I'd mentioned, and I was like, I have to do something. There has to be a way. I'm literally driving downtown San Antonio. I'm seeing these high rises. I'm seeing these people with nice shoes, and I'm seeing these people with great jobs. And I'm going, there's got to be something I'm doing wrong. So I literally decided, let me watch this stupid secret thing and try and see if it works. Well, I did go ahead and try everything. Man, I had the vision board. I had that, gratitude rock. Man, I had everything. I followed to the T. And let me tell you what happened. Not a gosh darn thing. Nothing happened. And I thought, what an idiot. I wasted so much time and energy trying this whole manifestation thing, and I look like a fool. I'm so stupid, right? And
Mhm.
then again, I went back to my other thing and I started noticing that my regular routine actually was worse. I skipped that stupid gratitude rock into a pond off the highway and I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. And I ripped up that vision board and I was like, oh my gosh. But the craziest thing happened was I don't know who it was that told me about another book that was all about gratitude and manifestation in a different way. So I actually listened to the audible version of that, and then I realized the whole time I was doing it all wrong, and it was more about what can I help provide to the world rather than try to get all the money I want or all the success I want. And that's really kind of how my manifestation journey became a thing. I took my teenage daughters into the room and I made them watch The Secret. They thought I was crazy. And then, sure enough, guess what? Things started really shifting in our favor right after that happened.
Interesting. So yeah, gratitude is a big piece of it. So nothing started shifting until you came from that place of gratitude and what can you give before you are getting.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that was the key component to what I was missing. I was missing out on that, where it's like, instead of people trying to take, because we all need, right? The society we live in requires we have money or we can't eat. So we need money. And whenever you're in a situation where you're a single mom, you're working really hard, like, what do you need? You need money to get the things that you need
Mhm.
to pay for your kids. And I was trying to take from the universe. And once I realized that, like, actually, whenever you have gratitude and you give back to the universe, that's whenever you have the best return on energy, which puts you in a space to where not only can you give, but you can also receive.
Mhm. Well said. And you are now, flash forward to your life to where you're sitting at now, and you have the Is Manifesting Bullshit podcast. You have two books, I believe, written on the topic as well. And you have over 50 episodes. So you have talked back and forth with people on their consensus. So I want to hear, what is the overall consensus? Is there a common theme that's popping up? Is the yes winning? Is the no winning? What are people's opinions out there in the world?
When I first decided to write the book, and I don't know if you know this or not, I wrote the first book with my two oldest daughters. And
Oh.
it's Manifesting Bullshit is the book that we wrote together. And that was because that was our question. Is manifesting bullshit, right?
Mhm.
Well, when I started to tell people about this title, they literally were like, "Well, is it?" And at first I was like, "Well, you got to read the book to find out." But then I realized, oh my goodness, people have really strong opinions on this. And how fun would it be to not just talk to people all day that believe in manifesting, but I want to interview the skeptics, the critics. I want to interview people who believe, who have stories. Like, that's where I really thought the meat would be. That's so cool. And then, of course, I believe that in sharing, a bit of my story and listening to other people's perspectives, that, I could grow my mindset, right?
Mhm.
And the funny thing is that I'll tell you, I really expected people to come on and say it was all bullshit, but about 98.4% of people who come to my show believe in manifesting.
Wow, that's a
I
high
know.
percentage.
I'm shocked. I've literally
Mhm.
had two people come on and say it's bullshit, too. And all the time I've been doing this podcast.
Wow. I'm actually shocked by that because it's usually the people that have a strong backup against something, they're usually the ones that really have a voice because they're so heels dug into what they believe in, right? So that's
Yes.
kind of fascinating.
Isn't it fascinating? And I want to tell you one more thing that I think is
Mhm.
very interesting is that I've really seen this trend of people who believe that it's either with religion or without religion. And it's like, no, it has nothing to do with that.
Mhm.
So some people believe it's anti-religion and some people believe that it's, with religion. And so I thought that was so fascinating how people, kind of have that switch in them, which were the people who don't believe in manifesting, but just thought it was super interesting.
Yeah, I find that fascinating too. And that just made me think of when you were bringing the religious aspect in. I had someone say to me about a year ago, and it's just stuck with me because she's like, well, manifestation, that's like witchcraft.
Yes.
And I was like,
What?
oh, what? She's like, yeah, you are essentially like asking for what you want. And she was a strong Christian. And I'm like, well, what is prayer then? If manifestation is witchcraft with setting the intention for what I want, what is prayer asking for God for what you want? Like, I just felt like it was a very judgy.
And that's the same thing I had, was kind of perplexed, like, what? This has nothing to do with witchcraft. It has nothing
Mhm,
to do with anything. It's literally like you set your intention, kind of like you do in your car when you're trying to drive somewhere and you put that GPS on that says, I'm going to that particular restaurant at this particular time, and
mhm.
it takes you right there. This manifestation, that's what it is. It's nothing to do with like witchcraft or anything like
I
that at
know.
all. It's just
But it
fascinating.
it is fascinating. That's what I find. I'm like, I find manifestation fascinating as a fun, energetic tool that we all have access to. And why wouldn't we want to play around with it for the good of all? Yeah. So the whole witchcraft thing, that really threw me and it stuck with me. And I'm like, you know what, though? We're all entitled to our own opinion. We can all decide, yes, manifestation works for me, or no, it doesn't, right?
Exactly. Everybody has the opportunity, but honestly, it's all about just setting goals and intentions and knowing where you want to go so you can get there the fastest way possible, to me.
Yeah, definitely. So, say we have a listener that's listening and hearing about manifestation for the first time. What are some simple steps or processes that you would suggest as kind of a starter to get them out of the gate?
Okay, you're gonna love this one because I know what you do, but writing, it's free,
Mhm.
it's simple, and it's so easy. It's like just get a pen and paper and just ask yourself, who am I? And then write out your answer. Then ask yourself, what do I want to see myself like at the end of my life? Whenever I'm at the end of my life, what do I want to have accomplished? And just literally put pen to paper. And if you're not comfortable with writing in the beginning, just start writing about your day. Today I woke up, I had a great day, I did my morning routine, I'm proud of myself. Tomorrow I'm going to accomplish XYZ. So simple. Get your brain used to it because there is a huge switch. There's a difference between us swirling around thoughts and ideas inside of our brain and then recalibrating that from pen to paper and actually formulating what it is you truly want. A lot of people believe that they know what they want. I know what I want. I want money, I want fame, I want fortune, or whatever it is you want, right? A lot of people have that in their mind, their thoughts. But there's a big switch from having it in your mind and writing it down. Once you write it down, step one happens. Then your brain will go, oh, here's step two. Then next thing you know, you write that down. Now step three will come. And you don't want to get stuck swirling on step one. So just write it down and give your brain the satisfaction of knowing that you say, I heard you.
Mhm.
Boom. And that's my biggest tip. And I'll tell you what, one of the frustrations is so many people, you can give this tip to them, the first time you talk to them, 10 years later, 15 years later, and when they start, they go, oh my gosh, I could have done this 15 years ago. And it's so simple and it's free.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
that there
think in ink.
think in
Think in
ink.
ink.
Yes,
Think in
thank
ink.
you. I was like, what is that saying? Because I think it's like you said, it's like there's an extra power behind it when you get it out of your head down onto paper and to ask yourself questions like you just posed there. Some people go a lifetime without asking themselves that, right? And at the end of the day, that is what is going to be the fuel to keep driving you forward to do the things you want to do, to support your family, to put out there and give back in the universe when you feel like your cup is full, if you will, just like the airlines say, then it spills over into all of the other areas. So why not truly dig into what you want and see where it takes you?
Absolutely. And I would love to share a story.
Yeah, please.
So after I have a fear of public speaking, which sounds like super silly for someone who's a TV show host, but again, I just opened myself up and said, you know what, I'm going to do it afraid. And so that's how I ended up in my writing books. I don't even like to read, to be honest. I only listen to audiobooks, and so it's incredible that I've even written like one paper but more or less 5 books, right? So I'll tell you that one day I was doing all of these things. I already had the TV show, the books, the everything, and the nonprofit. And somebody said, "Oh, Cindy, so what's next for you?" And first I thought, "How rude! Haven't I done enough?" But then I thought, "Wait a second, is this it for me?" And I really started to ponder on this. So for 3 nights in a row, I wrote down on a simple postcard, "What's next for you?" right before bed. On the third night of me doing this, I literally dreamt up Force magazine, and now Force Magazine's about to celebrate its 1 year anniversary of the creation of it, where we're highlighting other people doing great things and really maximizing that gratitude and return on energy and all the things. And so I just want to say how important it is for you to just write it down and just do it afraid.
Yeah, that is a sound piece of advice there. I'm going to share that with my kids actually, because I feel like they have this little fear of going out and doing things that are new. And I think that will really resonate with them because at the end of the day, what's the worst thing that could happen, right? You turn red in
Exactly.
the face, you trip over your tongue. Like it's usually not going to be that big of a deal, but it feels like it.
Yeah, and for kids, I always love the analogy of, bedtime. Usually a lot of times kids, the parent goes in, they tuck them into bed and everything is good. The kid feels all happy. They got their favorite toy, their blanket, right? Mom walks out of the room or dad walks out of the room and they turn the light off and instantly there's a monster in the closet. There's
Mhm.
an animal underneath the bed, something scary. And the truth is, if they just get up and turn the light back on, they'll be able to see that everything is exactly the same and they're safe. But so often in all of our lives, whether you're kids, adults, doesn't matter your age, there's no discrimination. We just stay there with our head underneath the covers, terrified of what's in the room. So I just invite everyone who's listening to this podcast today to get up in your life and turn on the light because life is not as scary as you think it is.
Mhm. That is very powerful. I want you to share here for a minute on what the Force magazine, what it is, because I looked into what it was before we jump on the call here, and it seems like a pretty powerful magazine that you've got going there.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Again, doing it afraid, I don't know anything about that type of stuff. And literally I had that dream and I woke up that morning and I called my publicist and I said, "Hey, you think you can help me with a magazine?" And they were like, "Yes, of course we can." And so that's how it was started. And really, again, I have a fear of public speaking, and I really realized through growing through my life and whatever I'm going through or growing through, doing it afraid is like something that's a real big deal for me. But I also understand now that I prefer to highlight other people, hence the reason why I give away cars, hence the reason why I'm a beekeeper, hence the reason why I have this magazine and really highlighting other people and their amazing abilities to make this world a better place is really what I'm all about. So, in thinking through what is next for you, right, which was my question, I was like, oh man, how can I highlight more people who are doing good in the world? Because you don't have to donate $10,000. You don't have to donate a week of your time every single month. You don't have to do any of those things. There's one little thing that each of us can do every single day to make the world better. And you know what the cool thing is? I'm not the only one doing one little thing, and you're not the only one doing one little thing. There's a lot of people. So, how can we take it where the news is going to focus on negativity, bad news, because of course, bad news sells? And how can we really highlight the great people who are in this world doing wonderful things to make it better? And that's exactly what we do with Force Magazine is now 40, 50 people per month or more sometimes we're actually shining a light on them saying, "Hey, you know what? You're amazing and let's share that with the world." Good news.
Wow. And you do that too with your TV show too, don't you?
100%. And that's one of the things is with the TV show, I can highlight 4 people a month. With the podcast, I can highlight 4 people per month. But with the magazine, I can highlight 50 people per month. So the impact that I'm making on spreading good news quickly went from 8 per month to, look at this, almost 50, 60, 70 per month. The TV show is in 130 countries and is also available to 30 plus million viewers. So that's our viewership. And then the magazine is in 150, retailers in 13 countries. And so like really that impact is just spreading bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's what it's all about, spreading good news, highlighting the incredible people that are in this world right now that are trying actively every day to make it a better place, just like you.
That is amazing. The ripple effect when you describe how big the reach is from you, you having these ideas and taking a stand to make a positive difference in the world and just spreading the good and having that ripple effect over throughout the world. That is impressive, Cindy.
Do it afraid. You know what? And there is no part of me that's anything special or grander or greater than anybody else who's listening to this podcast today. No, I'm just an ordinary person who literally at dinner had the idea for driving single parents to give away cars and then literally dreamt through Force magazine. I'm not special. I'm not incredible. I'm just one person who's trying to make the world a better place. And the ripple effect of that one act of kindness is really impacting people, I believe.
Amazing. And I just want to ask you my last question. What is one piece of advice that you could give for someone to go out and create a life they love?
Do it afraid. That's my thing, is like, man, I just do it afraid. There's always a way. There's always a way. Figure out what you want and then just go get it.
I love that. I love that. That seems like the common vibe for the show today, and that resonates so well. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today, Cindy. Before you leave, I would love for you to share with the listeners where they can reach out to you and connect with you.
Absolutely. I would love to connect with anybody out there who's listening. You can go to my website, which is cfviews.com. You can also find us at forcemagazinefeature.com. We are all over social media. You can find me under my name, Cindy Witteman, and I'd be happy to have any kind of conversation where if you're trying to create a life of your dreams or make an impact in the world, you want to come on the TV show. I do sponsorships for the magazine so people can come and share the good that they're doing in this world. So, however you want to connect, I'm here for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today, Cindy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Manifestation and Money podcast. If you're looking for ways to manifest more money and more abundance in your life, I invite you to join me in the Manifest More Moolah program. It would be you, me, and a small group of other equally cool humans meeting weekly in a Zoom room, exploring different ways to manifest more money and more abundance into your life. For more details, visit www.manifestationandmoney.com. Thank you for listening to the Manifestation of Money podcast. I truly, truly appreciate all of you for listening. Cheers to creating a life you love and the income streams to support it.